Hi guys, welcome back. So, as you heard at the end of the last video, I have been unwell for a few weeks. It was some form of flu that was going around that really knocked me around. And you can hear by my voice, I'm just sort of coming back and getting better now. Other than that, I did have a week or so down south with my daughter as well. And went down for her birthday, etc. So I'm back into it now, and I got some interesting stuff coming along that I think yous are all gonna, well, some of yous may be interested in. So anyway, to get back into things, I'll just show you, while I've been unwell, a lot of stuff has come in. And so here we have it. So some boxes of bits have come in. There are some other bits and pieces that I don't have here. They don't really have much to do with the retro side of stuff. It's other bits for things I'm doing. But I've had some stuff come in from Temu freebies. It's a rechargeable soldering iron. Something I haven't had for a long time. I did have an old gas one that worked off butane, and I don't know whatever happened to that. So, but I do find the odd tip for it every now and then, brand new tips for it, and I put those aside, and hopefully I will find it one day, because I found it's invaluable out in the field. The USB one should do me if I need it. The other thing I got was a box full of side cutters for doing work I need to do, and it came in a box of 10. The other thing I got was, let's see what we got in here. What is this? Oh, this was a car fuse box come relays, and I never ever asked for this. This just turned up, and yeah, it's a box, and it's for adapting an old vehicle or making a hot rod or something like that, and it has relays and fuses and everything in it. It's very, very heavy, so I might need to use that. I do the odd vintage vehicle that I have, and for those that who know me, I do have a couple of old Bedfords, a 76 and a 87 Ambo I have as well. So in this box was something I was quite chuffed to get, even though I didn't ask for it, is a replica Star Trek phaser. It's a resin cast one, so there's no moving parts or anything on it, but I'm into sci-fi, and I thought, that's pretty cool. Close up, it's not great. From a distance away, it looks really nice. I mean, I do have quite a bit of sci-fi stuff kicking around here, and I do collect a bit of it, and I have a lot of it up on the shelves over to the side of me there, and I got things like original 1970s Star Trek laser tag games, and I've got the 12-inch, 13-inch collectible figurines and Hallmark snow globes of all the original series, and things like that. I've got lots of those bits and pieces, so yeah, I am a bit of a sci-fi nut at some of those things. So guys, so that's a lot of these bits and pieces. There are other things upstairs in the shelves, things like transistors and things like that turned up, and connectors and bits and pieces. So there's all that sort of stuff that's come as well while I've been a little bit unwell. So I just thought I'd let you guys know what's been going around. So we're going to have a look at this at some stage and do a wee bit of a look on it and see how they are, and whether we think they're any good or not, and whether you guys should look at them. So anyway, that's enough prattling on about the garbage I've gotten, and what you say we get and have another look at this 728. And I think, as I said at the last video, we need to try and find out if the signals are getting in and out of the processor and in and out of the ROM and the video processor. Alright, so I think I will clean this lot off, we'll come back and let's get into looking at that. Alrighty, see you soon. Hey guys, so what I've decided to do, instead of mucking around with the big heavy power supply for the 728, is I've hooked up my bench power supply to another set of headers and just plugged it in for the 5 volts. And it's just going to make life a little bit easier working on the bench than trying to have the big power board here and the big power supply on the bench at the same time, moving things around. So I've done it that way, and that way I can just work on this board and see where the signals are and what we're getting out of it. Alright, so that's why I've done it this way, if you're wondering. And I will get the scope out, and I think we will get into this and try and find out what's going on with what. So I'm only going to be running 5 volts into the board, because that's all the board needs. And I'll be doing that, and as I said, my benchtop power supply, the one on my soldering station, is only limited to around 2.5-3 amps, which is more than what this thing's ever going to need to pull. Alright guys, so I will do that. I will find the schematics on the different chips that I need to check, and the schematics for the 728, and we will go from there. Alrighty, so I'll see you shortly. Hey guys, so I've changed myself around so you can get a better view at the scope and the board and what I'm doing. And I think what I will do, I've just got this plugged in, charging it up because it's a rechargeable on my scope. And so what I'm going to do is I'm leaving this to charge up for now, and I will just check the voltages on the Z80 first to make sure we've got the 5 volts and the ground on the IC itself. So I'll do that, and then we can come back and start checking things with the scope. And the scope is a 100 megahertz dual trace for anybody who's interested. This was off AliExpress. It's not a bad little scope. It's nice that it's colour, and I can set things up and do holds and that. My old dual trace 30 megahertz scope was doing alright. It was just getting a little bit long in the tooth, and I decided that I will go this way and get something newer. So that's what I'm going to be using here. It has been on a few of my other videos. Not a bad little scope for people if someone wants to get one for their workbench, and these are isolated. You can't use them with the USB charger in, so you got to unplug that before they work, which means you can work on mains live stuff and not worry about it shorting back to ground. If I remember, I will stick a link to what the scope is. I think they run at about $130, I think it is, for what they are. They also have a built-in multimeter and diode tester and continuity tester, capacitor tester, etc. So if you're looking at anything like that, then yes, it does all that. Alright, so what I will do is I will turn this on, and I will get the multimeter and just check to make sure we're getting the 5 volts across the Z80. Alright guys, so I will go on and do that now. Okay, I've got the power supply set up for 5.1 volts, and it's drawing at about 0.7 of an amp, which is fine, which means that it's not drawing too much power, so there's nothing that's short or that's going to fry or anything like that. So I'll stick this on, put the multimeter on. Oh, I'll do that. Just move it over a little bit so we can get over here. Just take my tips off. Now on the Z80, it's pin 29 is ground and pin 11 is 5 volts. And those are the only two that it uses. So pin 1 is here. So we can go across the chip if we like, or we can just take a ground point and go to pin 11 on here, which is what I'll do to start with. So we'll go from here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And 4.93, which is close enough for what we need. So yeah, that's fine. So what we can do is we can actually check to make sure the ground is getting to the chip as well. So we can go over to pin 29. And of course we can go from either end. So we can go, just have to be able to see the chip itself. So we can go, yeah, we can go, put my eyes on, it might help me. (21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So that's 29, and we go to 11, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that one should be 11. Yep, and that's picking up the same voltage, 4.92, 4.93. So the ground is connected to the chip, which is fine. And doing a quick check of the ICs. None of these are getting overly hot. A little warm, as they should do. But other than that, no, that's fine. So we know that the CPU is getting its voltage, which is good, which means that the power is getting into the board. So the next thing I think is we use the scope, and we'll put the scope on and check to see if we are getting a reset signal for the CPU. Because if the CPU does not come out of reset, the machine is not going to fire up. So we need to make sure that the machine is coming out of reset. So that's the next thing we're going to do. So we're going to go and disconnect the charger, because this is charged up, the green light is on, and I'm going to put it on and see if we come out of reset. And reset is pin 26. So that's on this side of it here on pin 26. So I will go through now and I will do that. I'll set this up and get us ready to go on that. Alright, I'll see you shortly. Okay guys, so I've turned the scope on, and first thing you need to do is, when you usually turn your scope on, is calibrate it. So usually your ground, on most of your scopes there'll be a ground and a signal pin on them. So I've clipped it onto ground, I'll put the probe into the signal pin, and then generally hit auto for probe 1, and it will go through and it will calibrate it. And that gets everything set for before we start, so we are with a level playing field. Alrighty, so now we'll take this off, and we need an earth. So we need to find a ground close to where we're working. And sometimes you'll find that with your probes is that the ground points are never where you need them to where you're testing. And generally the leads aren't very, very long. Sometimes you can get away with tagging on a earth wire or putting another clip onto them and clipping them to another point, but you don't want to make it too long. If you make it too long, then you get noise from that coming into it. So the best practice is to try and find somewhere close that you can have an earthing point onto. And I don't know if I have anything that close. I mean, that's the closest point to where I want to be, but no earth on there that I can clip onto. And a lot of these early boards didn't have test points for earthing points on them. A lot of new boards now do have the earthing points on them. So what I might have to do is solder on a a pin for an earthing point, I think, and go from there. I think that might be my best bet. So I'll be back shortly. Alright, so what I've done is I've made a little wire earthing link that I put under a screw over the back here, so I can clip my lead onto it. Just gives me a little more length and closer earthing point. So I've done that, and I'll turn the unit back on again. And so what we're doing is we're looking for the reset line, which I said is 26. Now the reset generally goes low, so you'll need it to go low and then high. So if it stays low, that means it's not being unasserted from reset. So we'll go to 26 over 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, which is here. And I'll just go out a bit. Okay, so I'll turn the power off, and as you can see, that is low. So turn it on, it goes high. And it's staying high, which is good, because if it goes low, that's a reset, and we don't want it to be reset. So that's 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Yep, so that is right. So that's okay. So the CPU is coming out of reset. So we'll just check that again. Turn that off. On. Yep. And that is sitting at around, what are we at? Voltage scale 2 volts. So we're looking at 2, 4, 5 volts. Yep. So that is sitting high, which is saying that it's out of reset. Okay. So that's telling us that the CPU is at least powering up, and what we now need to do is probably check the read and write to see if we're getting any data going in and out of the processor. So the pin 21 is the read head, and by looking at that, we are getting we are definitely getting a signal, a read signal going out. So the CPU is reading, and we're definitely getting write information going out of the processor, which is pin 22. So we are definitely getting information going in and out at this stage, which pretty much says that the processor is doing something. So pin 30 to 40 are the address lines 0 to 10. So we can go backwards on that. So we go from 10. So that's 40, address 40. That's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep, so all those are fine. Yep, so out of all those 10 address lines, we are getting information going out them, so those are all good. So over the other side, from pin 1 to pin 5 are the address lines 11 to 15. So go 11. Let's get on there, a bit noisy. Bit of noise coming through on that. Not sure what that's better. Yep. 14 and 15. Yeah, so we're getting information on all the address lines. Now 6 is the clock. 6, which should be this one. And yeah, and that looks alright. So we're getting a 5-volt peak to peak clock on there. So that seems to be alright. And then the next 4 are D0 to D6, which is your data. So go from pin 7. So this is a data pin. Looking pretty messy. Don't know what that is, and whatever it is, it doesn't look very tidy. It could be alright. Well, it's consistent across them all. Then we have our 5 volts, which should just go high. And then we have D2, D7, D0, and D1. Now I'm not 100% sure if that data information is correct or not, so we may have to have a look into that. So I'm not sure if that's correct, that data information. The other thing we can do is check our I/O requests and our memory requests to see if they're working. That's 19 and 20, so yeah, it's our memory requests. Our I/O requests, which is nothing really on there, which it shouldn't do because it's not looking for anything. Check our halt. So halt is low, so this is high, so it's fine. And we can check our interrupt, which is fine because that should be low as well, but it's interrupted. And our non-maskable, which is low as well, but it's fine, it's been held high. So there's nothing interrupting the processor, telling it not to do stuff. So to me, it sounds like the processor is working okay. So the thing is then we need to check that the information is coming out of the ROM properly. So that'll be the next thing we're going to go in and have a look at. So we'll just double check the ROM and make sure that the data is going in and out, the chip select is on, so it's getting the right information, and we can go from there. So that's our next point of call. Okay, so now over to the ROM. So what we need is we need pin 20, 22 and 28. 28 is our power to make sure that the ROM is getting power. 20 is our chip enable, and 22 is our output enable, and that allows the ROM to output the information. So go to 28. So that is our 5 volts, which is fine. Yep. So that's 28. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And so it's 22, and that is low. And 20. And it's got a signal coming out. No, I think that should be output enable. I don't know if that should be doing that from memory. I'll just have a quick look. So that should be the output enable. So that should be high whenever it's turned on. It should be high. I don't think it should be pulsing. So that may be part of our problem. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so we'll check our address and our data lines and just see what they say. So the thing is with these ROMs is they're all over the place. They're not in a consistent line. So we've got 14, 13, 8, 9 and 11 are from 27 to 23. That's coming out. Data coming out. Sorry, it's address. Address on that. So that looks like those 5 are okay. Then that, and then we got that's next one. That's 10, A10, address line 10. And then the other address lines are all on the opposite side from pin 2 down to pin 10. Okay, so all those seem to be fine. All those address lines are okay. So the outputs are output 0, 1 and 2 is 11, 12 and 13. There's outputs. There's stuff coming out of the ROM. That looks a bit messy. Not 100% sure on those. And the other ones are from 15 to 19. Right, so I'm picking. There is information going in and out of that, but I'm just not 100% sure with the if the outputs are what they should be. But there is data going in and out, which is 1 plus, I suppose. So that, to me, sounds like there is information going in and out of the coming out of the ROM, and the processor is actually asking the ROM for information. So no, nothing's getting crazy hot, and it's still pulling 0.7, well, just under 0.8 of an amp. So as far as I can see, the processor is working and the ROM is doing what it should be doing. The next thing to do from here would be to see what's happening over on the video processor, I suppose, to see if there's any information coming in and out of this, and also to pick up if there is a signal coming out on the 3 video lines that come out and get combined on the board to go to the RCA connection. So I think that might be, I'll check that next to see if that's working. And if we are getting information out of this, then that means that the processor is talking to this, and that this is trying to do what it's meant to do, and it could be going from here over to the board that has an issue. So I think I'll do that next. I'll check that and see if that's our problem. Right, so let's have a look at the video processor. So what we need to look at is, if we look at pin 34, we can look to see if the reset has come off, and if the reset hasn't come off, then the chip is not going to function. Basically, it's going to be held in reset all the time, so it's never going to do anything. So that is pin 34. So we go 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, which is this one. And it is high, which is good, because as with the processor, if it is low, it is in reset. So it's up and high, so that's good. It's out of reset, so that means that the chip should be running. What we'll next want to check is to make sure we have a crystal. Now, it might be either using XTAL or crystal 1 or crystal 2. I'm pretty sure these use crystal 1. Both of them are actually has information coming in on them, but yeah, and it's a 10.7, 10.8 signal, megahertz signal. Yeah, 10.7, 10.8 megahertz. So that's fine. I'm not sure, is that megahertz or kilohertz? Yeah, megahertz. So that's fine. That's what it should be getting. So it's getting the right signals, which is good. Now we want to check to see if it's the read address select, and that enabled. So pin 1, so yes, and yes, they're both getting information, the RAS and the CAS. And our read write signal, now if the chip is reading, it'll be high. If it is low, it'll be writing. So that's read. Sorry, let me just double check that. Yeah. So if it's reading information out of the video RAM, it'll be high. If it's writing information to the video RAM, it'll be low. So we'll just check pin 11. And that is high. So signal high means that it is reading from the video RAM. And when it is writing, it would go low. So that is what it is doing. So it is reading from the RAM at the moment. 11, so 12 is okay. Mode we don't need to worry about. And then it's the next is interrupt. Could be an interrupt or the CSW or the CS chip select read and chip select write. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that tells us if there's an interrupt, and it's interrupt low, so it's not, it is high. So there is no interrupt. Read, and read is high. So if it is high, it is reading. If it if it is low, it is reading. If it is high, it is not. And that is writing. So if it is high, it is not writing. If it is low, it is writing. So that's not writing. So it's not doing sending or receiving information into the video chip or into the RAM at this stage. So most of that seems to be right. So what we can do is just do a quick check on the address lines, which is from pin 10. No, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And those are all got data going in and out of them, so or pulsing on them, which is all good. Those are all the address lines. So they seem to be okay. So that's address line 0 to 7. Okay, I think we'll just check the outputs going to the videos, which is our red yellow, which is pin 38. That's not, yeah, we're not really getting a lot out of that. No. That's 39, 38, 37. That's better. And then our yellow. Not getting anything really out of that. And our blue and yellow. You're not really getting anything out of that, realistically. So, whatever's going into the chip and whatever it's doing, it's not outputting any sensible information. So, it could be the chip is faulty. I do, as I said, I do have extras of those. So what I might do is I might swap the chip over and see if that changes on those pins. And if I don't get any change on it in here, I've got a few of them, I'll try a couple of the chips. If that makes no difference, then there is obviously information that's not coming into this that is causing a problem. Righty, so I will do that and we'll come back to it. Hey guys, well, there is something else going on here, and I can't say it's not. One of the discretes I tested and was told by the tester it was fine. It could be one of those that is partially flaky, I don't know. So there's a lot more that's going to have to go into this, and it's going to be a lot more time. So I'll work on this off camera for you, and we'll come back when we try and get some results for it. Alright, so thanks for coming along, and hopefully I'll have some good news for you in the next one. But what I will say before I sign off is watch to the end. There's something you might be interested in coming up. Alright guys, so watch to the end and see what the little intro is about. For now, as I always say, have a great day. Have a great week, and until next time, ciao.
Stand by for action.
Hey guys, and welcome back. What I'm going to do is start on a new project I've been thinking about, which is on the Spectra video. What I would like to do is do some short videos and concentrate on the different hardware that came out for the Spectra video. And so I'm going to take us through what I have. There's a few bits and pieces I don't have, but most of it I do. So hopefully you're going to like this episode, and it gives you a bit more insight into what the Spectra video is and what it was about and what they made. And let's find out about the Spectra video.